Hey guys, it's Bex. Welcome to another video. Today we are going to be kind of doing a part 2 of a video that I filmed last year, reading romance books by popular romance authors for the first time, or in this case, again. In the first video, I read 3 books by 3 different popular romance authors that I'd never read a book by before that. And the authors were Emily Henry, Abby Jimenez, and Ali Hazelwood, which I think at that point and still are 3 of the most popular romance authors in kind of today's society. Sammy! So today we are going to be reading 3 more books from those 3 authors. I'll be talking more about this when I pick a new book from each of these authors in this video, but there were 2 books in that video that I really liked, and there was one that I did not like so much. So we'll see if my thoughts on these authors change at all from reading another book by them. Oh, and also this is coming from a non-romance reader, I would say. I don't read that many romance books. I do love romance in my books, but I don't usually love it as the main plot point, kind of. And there's only ever been one romance book that I've rated 5 stars up until this point, so that was why I thought that original video would be interesting to film, and it was. And so I decided I would try it again to see if my thoughts have changed on these authors. So without further ado, let's pick up our first romance book. Okay guys, first I just want to preface that I am numb because I had a dentist appointment today like 5 hours ago now, and I'm still numb, so I am over it. I just ate and it was like so hard to eat anyway, but I waited as long as possible. I was starving. So I'm trying not to like smile because it's probably gonna look awkward, but I was also trying to wait to film this clip because of the numbness. But it is now almost 7 and I wanted to kind of talk to you guys before I got too far into the first book of today's video, which is our Ali Hazelwood book, Love Theoretically. I have it on my Kindle through Libby, so I'm borrowing it through my library, which is kind of funny because I also borrowed the other Ali Hazelwood book I read in the part 1 of this video via my library, which was Love on the Brain. I'm really excited for this book because I loved Love on the Brain. It was my favorite book that I read in that video, and ever since then I wanted to read more by Ali Hazelwood, but I literally haven't, and it has almost been, I think, a year since I read those books in that video. Again, same as last time, I just don't read a lot of contemporary romance. And when I do, I would say that they're more often than not young adult, and all of these 3 authors either primarily or only write young adult. Anyway, I am 10% through chapter 2. It's reading really quickly, which I do love about romance books. Again, I don't read them very much, so when I do read them, I'm like, wow, this is so easy to read. This book follows our main character, what is her name again? Elsie. And she is, I was just gonna say scientist, but it says right here, she's a theoretical physicist, so in a STEM career, which is, if you didn't know, this is one of her STEMinist romance books. Babe, trying to update my video and you're singing.
Sorry.
It's okay. And she is like really broke, has no money. She's like trying to kind of get into a good career, but in the meantime, she works as a fake girlfriend on this app, and basically, just like it sounds, she finds people on this app, or they find her, that need a fake girlfriend for like some event or something like that. They pay her to be the fake girlfriend, and then that's it. It's like a one-night deal only kind of situation. However, she does have this one client who is like her favorite client, and she has been his fake girlfriend multiple times. So over these couple of times that she has met his family and stuff like that, she has also met his older brother, or is it his older brother or just his brother? Anyway, his brother Jack, I think is his name, you know, always gets on her nerves, is really annoying but handsome. And then present day, she has this interview to work at MIT and she's really excited about it. She really wants the job, but who other than Jack works at MIT, and she basically has to like get him to hire her. I don't don't know if that makes him her boss. It doesn't really specify, but it says that he is a physicist who also ruined her mentor's career and undermined the reputation of theorists everywhere. So not only does she not like him really from like meeting him, being her client's fake girlfriend, but he's also, I guess, just kind of says he's cold-hearted. She also is kind of in that like I don't believe in love kind of. I don't know if it's a stage or if she's just always been like that, but she has already been talking about that. So that's always kind of an interesting attribute to the main character in books like this. I don't usually love it, but so far I'm so early on, but I just love Ali Hazelwood's writing. She's so witty and funny, and I just find myself giggling and smiling. And it's not even about the romance, because a lot of times in romance books I'm laughing and giggling because of the romance, but no, it's just because of her writing. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep reading. The chapters so far are kind of long, but that's okay. It's just the way that she like inner monologues the character that our POV is in. It's very like this is what she's actually thinking. I don't know how to explain it. Like, for example, she's about to meet the people for her interview at this restaurant, and she said, I should be able to convince a handful of MIT professors that I'm a decent physicist, right? I don't know, maybe. I think so. Yeah, I don't know. It's not anything crazy. I like it. I think it's funny and relatable. I turn around. A dark-haired woman studies me as I mentally rehearse how to human. Also, she has already made like 3 references to The Lord of the Rings, which I appreciate. Love that. Okay guys, I was just hit myself in the face. Did you see that? I have updates on Love Theoretically. I'm on chapter 16, 59% of the way through. My cat is being so loud. Okay. Frodo, and I'm on page 227. So yeah, we're about 60% of the way through. So I just thought I would give you guys another update, more thoughts, because the first time I was pretty early on in the book. I think I had like just started reading it, and this will probably also be my last one because romance books just aren't that long, or I should say, I guess not generalize, this one is very long. And I wrote some notes that I want to talk about because I don't know, sometimes I just think I word vomit and I don't really get across I'm trying to get across. So I'm trying to be more mindful about what I am saying about the book and kind of specific things that I'm liking about it or not liking about it. So again, still I'm just really enjoying Ali's writing. I think it is really funny, and same as before, nothing new on that front, so I won't keep repeating myself. And then some of the other things I wrote about are female main character Elsie. Ali Hazelwood wrote Elsie to be kind of a very unique character in my opinion. She made her kind of have, I wrote down multiple personas. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but basically she like will assess the situation that she's in, decide who the people that she's around needs her to be or wants her to be, and she will be that person, which I just find very interesting. It's just kind of a unique characteristic that sets her apart. The downside of that, and it kind of correlates, is that she is such a people pleaser to the point where she literally even lies to her best friend about not liking a movie that her best friend likes because she doesn't want to disappoint her that she didn't like it. And like that is to another level, and I'm a people pleaser, so that's coming from me, and it's to the point where it's not healthy. And I can kind of see her character arc maybe happening, so I hope it does. We'll just have to wait and see. And then kind of also along with Elsie, she has type 1 diabetes, and I've also never read a book where any of the characters have diabetes, and it's really interesting to read about because I don't know anyone specifically like close to me that has diabetes. So just kind of hearing her talk about that and how she manages it in this book is interesting. And then the other thing I wrote about her was that this is my second Ali Hazelwood book, and so far 2 for 2, our female main character tends to like brush off the male main character telling her his feelings for her, like, oh, you're joking with me, stop, this isn't funny, haha, yeah right, you hate me. But it's like, no, he's telling you that he doesn't hate you and you just like refuse to believe him. So it's kind of weird, and it's almost like she's insecure in the love aspect, which makes kind of sense for this book because she has said to herself and to others that she pretty much has closed herself off in that way and just will not be in love or get married or any of that kind of thing. But that's all the notes I wrote. But yeah, I'm still just really enjoying it. It's so fun. It is so nice to read, just a cute little romance book in between some other kind of books that I read. Not that I always read like heavy fantasies or literary fiction books or sci-fis. I read some of those, but even like a romantasy is still just, you have the world building aspect and it just takes more brain power a little bit. These are just like literally no brain power, pure vibes. I don't know. But yeah, so far liking it. Those little things, they're just small things that I'm not even necessarily not liking about the book, but just thoughts that I wanted to share. So I am hoping that this book will take me like 2 more days to read, today and tomorrow. I have read about 25% like every day so far. This is the 3rd day, and I think today I've read like 7%. So yeah, hopefully I'll get to about 75, maybe 80% today and then finish it tomorrow. Oh, she's so funny. She has the most out-of-pocket dialogue / inner thoughts, I swear. I need to give you guys examples. She is inner monologuing and she's on a date and she's like, I should say something. Hi, how are you? Did you have a good week? Favorite Teletubby? Off your elections thoughts? Favorite Teletubby? Who thinks of that? And then Jack says, you don't need to impress anyone. No need for the usual party tricks. AKA her multiple personalities, whatever you want to call them. Not multiple personalities, but you know what I'm talking about. She says, I was going to carve a recorder out of a carrot and play it for your friends. Anyway. Hi, Sammy.
Hachette Audio presents Yours Truly. Written by Abby Jimenez.
Oh, okay. The strangest sentence was just in this book, and it took me that long, you literally just saw it, to realize that it wasn't actually weird. The sentence is, I loved well-hydrated veins. And I was like, that's really weird. That's a turn on for you? And then I realized it's because she's a doctor. Hi, Tammy. Doctors or nurses or whoever takes blood, phlebotomists, etc., being well hydrated makes it easier to like draw blood from your veins, basically. So it took me a second. Delayed realization on that one. That's my bad. Hi, Tammy. Sammy, lay down. Lay down. You're such a sweetie. Her favorite thing to do is rub her head against my books when I'm reading, or my Kindle. She loves it. It's a nice scratchy, huh? You're distracting me, Sam Sam. Got to read. Sammy, your tabs hit me in the face.
So
fish in the water, so the waters are test. Okay guys, I, as you saw, have started Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and if you saw my kind of original video that this is kind of the part 2 for, I read Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and I unfortunately did not love it. First, let me give you guys a quick little summary and initial thoughts on this book because I'm not very far, and then I will talk about my final overall thoughts and rating for Love Theoretically. I'm on page 62. I started it on my way to work this morning. As you guys saw, that is where I was going. I'm gonna try to get to page 100 today probably, and it's now the weekend, so yay for that. But basically this book follows Brianna, who is an ER doctor. Is it Brianna or Brianna? I don't know. And basically she, at the very beginning of this book, is kind of trying to get this promotion, but this new doctor that just started working with her, Jacob, is kind of standing in her way basically. So that's one thing that's going wrong in her life. And then she is also about to finalize her divorce from her ex who like cheated on her, and also her brother Benny is in need of a kidney. So yeah, basically her life, it says right here, is seriously flatlining. On the other hand, Jacob, who is our male main character, has really bad anxiety, and as I just said, he just moved jobs to this new hospital. That is kind of the premise, and so far it's fine. I did write again some notes because I just want to keep my thoughts straight, and I already have notes, and I wrote these at like 50 pages in, so I didn't write down any pros or things that I'm liking about this book. So things that I am liking about this book are, I do like Jacob. I think he is very kind so far. I just got to the point, and this isn't a spoiler, it's on the back, where he writes Brianna a letter. I swear every time I say her name I'm saying it differently. I'm sorry. And I'll kind of get into why, but basically he kind of had a bad first impression with her, and so now she hates him. So we just got to the letter part, and it was really sweet, and he seems to really be trying to kind of get in her good graces because she is now his coworker, and so, you know, it's kind of important to have a good camaraderie relationship with your coworkers if possible. So I'm liking that. Other than that, I'm pretty early on still. What I wrote down was about the whole, like, Brianna doesn't like Jacob, bad first impression situation. She decides immediately from meeting him, not even the first time, that she doesn't like him. She thinks he's an a-hole, rude, a douche, I don't know. She's called him multiple names so far, and there's literally no reason that she doesn't like him. I don't understand where she is getting that. He was trying to be nice to her. And then also Brianna in general as a character so far just seems to be very kind of cynical and just like negative. One of the examples of her kind of cynicalness, is that a word, and just kind of negative attitude is kind of shown through her friendships. Specifically, one friend we meet earlier, kind of, I don't know, around page 40, something like that. Actually, I did write down page 40 too because I wanted to give you guys examples. Her name is Jessica, and basically she explains Jessica as someone that hates everyone and never smiles, and she says that that is currently her favorite thing about her. Interesting. And also, she's meeting her for like lunch or coffee or something in this scene, and she sits down at her table, and it says, quote, "When I dropped into the chair across from her like a human beanbag, she was looking at her phone. And what happened to you?" she said without looking up, her tone bored, etc., etc. She set her phone down and looked at me like a parent talking to a petulant teenager. Why would you want to be friends with someone like that? You sit down to meet them for whatever they're eating or drinking, and they don't even look at you. I don't understand. But apparently she loves it. She loves being friends with this person. And I just think your friendships and who you choose to be friends with, obviously in real life and in books, kind of say a lot about who you are. This was the same thought that I had in Part of Your World. The main character in that book, Alexis, I didn't like, but I also didn't like her friends. Brianna was actually the only friend in that book that I was like, oh, I kind of like her. Her other friends were awful. horrible. So I don't know. Apparently Abby Jimenez, so far in the books I read by her, likes to make our main characters have kind of rude, negative, just not great friends. I don't know. Kind of strange, but those are really my only thoughts on the book so far. I don't know. I'm gonna keep reading this, but I just still, after reading Part of Your World, I didn't really like it. I said, oh, I'm gonna try again. This is what this kind of video is about, not necessarily trying authors. I liked 2 books slash authors quite a bit from that video, Ali Hazelwood and Emily Henry, but this book in specific was kind of me trying to give her another chance. So I don't know, it's still so early. I don't know why I'm being so negative. I'm not trying to be, but I am gonna keep reading and I hope that it will get better. So yeah, we'll see. And then already this clip is so long, oh my gosh. And then what I have to say about Love Theoretically, because I finished it since I last talked to you guys. So first, just to kind of tell you guys up front, my final rating on this book was 4 stars, and a new thing that I have been doing is kind of doing a rating breakdown, and I rate my books now mostly on 5 different things: character, setting, plot, emotional impact, and overall like personal enjoyment. So for characters, I rated them 4. I was between a 3 and a 4, but I honestly did like them. I don't know, I'm still not sure, but I think still overall this book is a 4 star, so it doesn't matter too much. So I guess I rounded up to a 4, since I really probably would have rated like a 3.5. I don't know. And then setting, I rated 4 because I still do like the sciencey aspect of her books, and even though the setting in specific, if you're talking about kind of the physical environment, was just normal. You know, they were mostly spending time at MIT, which is kind of cool, and just kind of teaching classes and stuff like that. So it was cool. I rated that 4. Plot was 4. Again, maybe a little under 4 because really the main plot of this book was, besides the romance, maybe like 60% of the book was her trying to get this job. And it wasn't anything crazy plot-wise. And then emotional impact 3. Yeah, no, it's a romance and I wasn't like obsessed. So I think that's fair. And then my overall enjoyment was like a 4, maybe even a little above that. So yeah, overall 4 stars. I really liked it. And then some other thoughts I had on it was about the spice. This is an adult romance book, so you usually get spice in books like that, even if it's just like one scene. And it was very like 0 to 100, their like physical relationship, which I don't love. That's just, I don't know. I don't think that's realistic, but it probably is for some people. So who am I to say anything about that? And also there was just some like word choices, dialogue during those scenes were just kind of cringing me out for some reason. But then more stuff that I liked about it. I liked how even though they didn't, and I may have said this before kind of, they didn't like know each other for very long. They knew of each other because of the whole fake dating his brother Greg situation. I would call them acquaintances. Then during this book with the whole job thing, they really started to get to know each other and spend a lot of time together. So even though it was really fast, it didn't seem insta-lovey, I think because they were already acquaintances. And then I also think that the 3rd act breakup was done very well. It made sense. They worked through it maturely. It wasn't like, I can't even think of a bad 3rd act breakup or 3rd act conflict example right now, but obviously we all know that a lot of them aren't good. Usually miscommunication, but that wasn't really the case in this one. And I just think if I were in her situation, I would have acted very similar. If I was in his situation, I would have acted very similar, and they just dealt with it as mature adults. So I thought that was done very well. I think that is pretty much all my thoughts on that book. But as far as Ali Hazelwood goes, I definitely want to keep reading books by her. I'm gonna read more of this, and then I will get back to you guys soon with more of an update when I'm farther in. Taste test. I've not tried this flavor yet, but I have tried the grape one, and it really just tasted like grape juice. So hopefully this tastes like apple juice because I like apple juice. I don't know about that one. It's okay. It's definitely the aftertaste, which is, what is that aftertaste? Stevia or something that I don't love. Dang it, I should have gotten the grape one. I'll still drink it though. I'm now on page 176.
I don't wanna call you later.
Oh, hi, Sammy. Okay, guys, I finished Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. As you saw, I happened to get the Libby hold on this book for the ebook. So I read a little bit of it on my Kindle. Not that that matters, but oh, golf ball rolling around my house. You have to deal with golf balls around your house and putting mats when you're married to a golfer. And my cat like playing with them. Okay, so I just did my rating breakdown on this book. So I'll tell you guys that, and then I will tell you guys my thoughts on this book because I haven't since I was, I don't even know, a third of the way through. Because my thoughts didn't really change that much, so I just thought I would wait until the end, till I was done with it, to tell you guys anything more. So some notes I wrote. Mostly were not great things, and I did write down one thing I liked, and I'm trying to think of more things that I liked. The writing was pretty good. It wasn't anything to write home about. It wasn't good to the point where I thought in my head while reading this book, I really like this writing. And it wasn't bad to the point where I thought in my head, I don't like this writing. So it was just middle of the road for me. I guess that was a good thing about it. And the other good thing I liked was the letters aspect, which you know that is an aspect in the book from the summary. It says that Jacob writes Brianna a letter to help apologize for something that he did because of his anxiety. He isn't very good with words sometimes, and his anxiety gets in the way of being able to articulate his feelings. So I totally get that sometimes, which is why I sometimes write notes, because I have trouble articulating my thoughts and stuff on certain situations, on certain things, books, whatever it may be. But those were really cute. They weren't a huge part of the book, but still I liked them. And now for some things I didn't love about the book. I did like Jacob. However, in my opinion, he just seemed too perfect. He was unrealistically such a good guy to the point where it's like, this is just obviously a fictional character, which again is fine, but I like my characters to feel really real to me. And I think that just kind of took away that real feeling. And on the other hand, Brianna, I liked not as much as Jacob. And I think I talked a little bit about that early on in reading this book on how she kind of jumped to conclusions with him, decided immediately that she didn't like him, like as a person even. But in general, she was a pretty good character. Speaking of characters, that is one of my things I rate on, and I gave that one a 3 out of 5. And just, I guess to tell you guys immediately, I gave 3s across the board. So this is a 3-star for me, which is interesting because I also gave her other book, Part of Your World, 3 stars, and I think I liked this one better. So I don't know what that means. But a couple more things about the anxiety rep. I won't say that I have anxiety to the point where it super affects me, but I do think that everyone, or very, very close to everyone, has some sort of anxiety, whether that's social anxiety or whatever it may be. I think mine is definitely social because I'm an introvert, so I think those two things kind of go together. He's also, I would say, an introvert and pretty shy and has pretty bad anxiety, which is awesome. I loved reading about that. But I will say that the whole meeting Brianna and her kind of, I don't want to say curing his anxiety, but the fact that basically doing things that he would not have been pretty much fine doing before meeting her because of his anxiety, now with her, it's manageable. Even, for example, going to his parents' house and having like family dinner. I just think the fact that someone he knows for not very long, Brianna, can bring that kind of change out in him when his family that he's known his whole entire life couldn't even. I don't know if that makes sense, but that was just something I noticed. And then lastly, this book has fake dating in it, which I just personally think that the fake dating in this book went so far. If you've read this book, you know that near the end, it just escalates and escalates. And that is like such an elaborate lie, basically, that they're telling everyone. I don't know. I just don't really love that. And I usually like fake dating in books. But that is basically my thoughts on this book. I want to say that I still want to read Just for the Summer by her because, again, I think I said this earlier, I've heard really good things about that book, but I've also heard really good things about this book, and it was just about the same to me as Part of Your World. So again, I don't know if she's really for me. However, I didn't have a bad time reading this book. I definitely wasn't as excited to pick it up as I was reading Love Theoretically. So in that sense, I'm kind of glad I'm done with it, but when I was reading it, it was cute and I had a good time. So not trying to hate. If you like her or like this book, I respect your opinion and I don't hate it. It's a 3-star. It's still good. And then for the final book we're gonna read in this video, I have it right here and I'm so excited to read this, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. From what I know about this book, it is about 2 writers, Augustus and January. January writes romance, Augustus writes literary fiction, and I think they both are kind of going through writer's block, and they end up being neighbors in beach houses, and they decide to, let me check the back for this part. They strike up a deal designed to force them out of their creative ruts. Augustus will spend the summer writing something happy, and January will pen the next great American novel. She'll take him on field trips worthy of any rom-com montage, and he'll take her to interview surviving members of the Blackwoods death cult. Everyone will finish a book and no one will fall in love. So it sounds honestly really good. Probably the best plotline out of these 3 books so far. This one I really have heard amazing things about, so I'm trying not to let that kind of affect my reading experience of it, I guess, because even if I give it like 4 stars, I will be happy. But so many people love it. It has so many 5-star reviews that I hope I love it too. This author I read Funny Story by and reading kind of popular books by popular romance authors, and I liked that one. I rated it 4 stars. So yeah, we'll see what I think about this one, and without further ado, I think I'm just going to start it right now. Also, don't mind my background of leaves if you can see that. I just haven't changed yet since fall. Oops. Also, the last 2 books were almost exactly the same amount of pages, like 2 pages different. So I wonder how many pages is in this book. This one's 389 pages, and I think the last one I read was 387, and the one before that was like 385 or something like that. That's pretty funny. Oh, they're rivals? I didn't know that. I love that.
I should have known from the start that you were a waste of an open bar tab.
Update on Beach Read. I am this far. I'm on page 256. Obviously, I haven't told you guys any thoughts on this book yet. And I was trying to think about specific things that I'm liking about it and that I'm not liking about it. And I don't have that much to say. However, I will say that I'm really enjoying it. A couple things. I don't necessarily think this is beachy. You see the cover, you see the title, you think beach, but it's not giving beach at all, in my opinion. They don't mention the beach that often, even when they're at home, aka at their beach houses, which is fine. I'm just saying, if you go into this book thinking it's super beachy, I think you will be disappointed because it's not really. A couple other things I wanted to mention was that I do really like the deeper messages in this book. It isn't just a romance, but it is mostly romance, and I think I have heard that some of her newer released books have been a little bit less romance heavy and more like literary fiction heavy, and I've heard that this one is one of her more romance heavy books, and I do see that. Like I said, I don't have that much to say about it. Just something that I just read not that long ago while I was sitting here before this clip is, why in every single book does the main character think something in their head and then the other character says something in response to it, and then the main character says, I didn't realize I had said that out loud. What do you mean? Is that a thing? Am I just the only person that doesn't do that? And it kind of is an ick for me. I don't know why. It's really? You didn't realize you literally said words out loud instead of thoughts in your head? Okay. Anyway, not important really, but I just thought I'd mention that because I just read that like 10 minutes ago. I feel like there was something else I wanted to mention. Oh, about the two main characters like banter between each other, because it's kind of like a rivals to lovers situation. So even kind of near the beginning when they were still rivals and not lovers, you had them kind of bickering between each other, and it was really funny and witty. And even now, getting more into the romance part, they still have that like camaraderie with each other, and I do really like that. And I think that Emily Henry does an amazing job at writing it, but almost to the point where I'm like, these people, if they were real, this would be like, I don't know, like it's almost not believable, because they can just come up with things immediately on the spot. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just because I am the opposite of that, unfortunately. And it's literally nitpicking so bad. So not that big of a deal at all. Still really liking it. Definitely in the 4-star range right now. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep reading tonight, and hopefully I will finish this book very soon. Alright guys, I finished Beach Read. I was really liking it, but then there was this moment where January reads, no spoilers, but she reads letters from someone very important to her, and I literally cried. I was not expecting to cry in this book, but this was very emotional. I can't fully relate to her and what she was going through, but I can a little bit. I don't know why I'm not trying to like say very much about it, because it's a romance book, it's not that deep, but I still just don't want to give spoilers, so that's all I'll say about it. But I was crying like pretty hard. But yeah, I ended up really liking it for more reasons as well. I do really like Emily Henry's writing for the most part. You know, there's a couple things where I'm being nitpicky, but in terms of like what I like in writing, there was just a couple little things, but for the most part I really liked it. For me, the strongest part of this book was definitely, I think, the emotional impact that it had on me. And again, that wasn't until pretty close to the end. I read that part about the letters last night, and until then I was still like emotionally invested, I guess, but that just took it up a notch. I guess I'll just go ahead and tell you guys I rated it a 4.25 stars, so my favorite of the video, and a little bit higher rated for me than a funny story was. So I'm very happy to report that. I think one of the more negative things about this book to me was that I wasn't super connected with the romance. I don't know, I maybe feel like they would be better off as like really good friends or something. I guess I just don't really know in depth why they like each other in that way. I think I'm a little bit in the minority on that, but I mean, I still like them together. I just think maybe I would have liked them even more as really good friends, but obviously that's not really the point. Although I really liked Gus and January, I liked both of them. I will say that I think the January was a little bit, I don't even know if insecure is like the right word, but if anything happened where she thought that maybe Gus decided that he didn't want to be with her or really even talk to her again, she would like spiral kind of and freak out a little bit on that, which I mean is relatable, but they weren't even dating at that point. And then for Gus, I don't know, I don't really feel like I got to know him very well besides kind of surface level things. Like, I know he's a writer, he wears a lot of crumpled t-shirts, he likes leaning on things. If you've read this book, you know these very important qualities about him. Also, he like tells January, you can ask me anything you want and I'll tell you, but she has to ask him for him to tell her things. Otherwise, he will just be quiet and again make January think that he is mad at her because he's like basically giving her the silent treatment. But if she asks him, he's an open book. You know, I don't know. I think that was kind of interesting and not my favorite. That is my thought on that book, and therefore the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I still think that romance as a genre is not my favorite. It depends. They are usually, I would say, between like a 3.5 to 4 stars, which is good. But obviously the goal is to always just find a book that just really speaks to you and that you absolutely love. 5 stars is always the goal. As a whole for these authors, definitely gonna keep reading books by Emily Henry, Ali Hazelwood, and I don't know yet on Abby Jimenez. I might try one more of hers just for the summer because the premise does sound very interesting. That's the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on these books if you've read any of them, and which book you recommend the most from these authors you think I would like, or other romance books that you think I should try. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!